The grand opening of Rafian's Haven was the talk of small-town Evergreen, Colorado, where whispers of tragedy mingled with the aroma of fresh-baked bread and simmering sauces. Martha and Robert Hayes had poured their grief into every brick and menu item, transforming their son's memory into a cozy eatery that promised comfort food with a side of acceptance. But on that crisp autumn evening, as the last rays of sun dipped behind the Rockies, a young man pushed open the door, his familiar blue eyes scanning the room before he slid into a booth and asked for the daily special, unaware that his death had built this very place. Rafian Hayes had vanished 3 years earlier, right after his 21st birthday. The police report labeled it a hiking accident. Body never found, presumed swept away by the rushing river during a solo trek in the mountains. His parents, devastated, clung to the narrative of a heroic end rather than face the ugly truth that had driven him away. Their initial rejection of his coming out as gay. Martha, a devout churchgoer, had reacted with tears and Bible verses, pleading for him to pray it away. Robert, the stoic mechanic, had grunted about family expectations and the town's judgmental eyes. Rafian, feeling like a stranger in his own home, packed a bag and left a note that could be misinterpreted as a final goodbye. He hitched rides to Denver, then farther west, reinventing himself as Ethan Reed in the bustling streets of San Francisco. Life in the city was a whirlwind of survival and self-discovery. Ethan found work as a barista in a queer-friendly cafe, where the steam from espresso machines masked his lingering homesickness. It was there he met Jamie Torres, a graphic designer with a warm smile and a backstory of his own, disowned by a conservative Latino family in Texas for the same reason Ethan had fled. Their connection sparked over late-night shifts and shared stories of loss. Jamie's laughter was the first thing that made Ethan feel alive again, not just existing. They started as friends, navigating the vibrant Castro district together, attending pride events that felt like rebellions against their pasts. One rainy evening, after a film festival screening about forbidden love, Jamie confessed his feelings under a flickering street lamp. Ethan hesitated, haunted by the fear of vulnerability, but Jamie's gentle persistence won out. Their first kiss was tentative, charged with the weight of reclaimed identities. As months turned to years, their relationship deepened amid San Francisco's fog-shrouded hills. Ethan shared fragments of his old life, but never the full deception. He couldn't bear to admit he'd let his parents believe he was dead. Jamie urged him to reach out, arguing that closure was essential, but Ethan resisted. "They didn't want the real me," he'd say, his voice cracking. "Why drag up the pain?" Instead, they built a new world. Shared apartments, weekend hikes that echoed his Colorado roots without the peril, and dreams of stability. Jamie's freelance work flourished, landing gigs for local nonprofits, while Ethan pursued night classes in culinary arts, inspired by childhood memories of helping his mom in the kitchen. Their love was quiet, supportive, laced with inside jokes and tender moments, like Jamie surprising Ethan with homemade empanadas on tough days. Back in Evergreen, Rafian's Haven became a beacon for the marginalized. Martha and Robert, transformed by grief, turned the restaurant into a safe space. Rainbow flags adorned the windows, and proceeds from certain dishes went to LGBTQ+ youth charities. They hosted support groups, sharing their story of regret, how they'd failed their son by not accepting him sooner. The town, once steeped in old-fashioned values, began to shift. Neighbors who had gossiped now praised the Hayes for their redemption arc, but beneath the surface, tensions simmered. Conservative locals boycotted, calling it indoctrination, while progressive voices lauded the change. Martha wrestled with her faith, attending therapy to reconcile scripture with unconditional love. Robert, quieter in his evolution, channeled his energy into perfecting Rafian's favorite recipes: spicy chili and apple pie, each bite a silent apology. Ethan's decision to return wasn't planned. A news article popped up on his feed: Colorado couple opens restaurant in honor of late gay son. The photo of his parents, older and wearier, hit like a gut punch. Jamie noticed his partner's distraction. "You have to go back," Jamie said one night, as they lay entangled on their worn couch. "Not for them, but for you." Carrying the secret is eating you alive. Ethan argued, fearing rejection anew, but Jamie's words lingered. What if they'd changed? What if he could finally bridge the chasm? After sleepless nights, he booked a bus ticket, leaving Jamie behind with promises of updates. The journey east was a blur of landscapes mirroring his internal turmoil, flat plains giving way to jagged peaks, much like his smoothed-over life cracking open. Arriving in Evergreen felt surreal. The town looked smaller, the air crisper. Ethan wandered familiar streets, heart pounding, until he stood before Raffian's Haven. The sign bore his old name in elegant script, flanked by photos of him as a teen, smiling, carefree. Tears pricked his eyes. He almost turned away, but the door's bell jingled invitingly. Inside, the warmth enveloped him. Exposed brick walls, soft lighting, patrons chatting over steaming plates. He chose a corner booth, menu trembling in his hands. The server, a young woman with a pride pin, took his order, the Raffian special, chili and cornbread. As he waited, memories flooded. Family dinners, arguments, the night he left. Martha was in the kitchen, plating orders, when she glanced through the pass-through window. Her spatula clattered to the floor. "Robert," she whispered, gripping his arm. "Look." Robert followed her gaze, face draining of color. Their son, alive, older, but unmistakably Raffian, sat there, fork in hand. The world tilted. Martha rushed out, apron askew, tears streaming. "Raffian? Oh God, Raffian!" The restaurant hushed as she enveloped him in a hug. Ethan, Raffian, froze, then melted into the embrace. Robert joined, his gruff voice breaking. "Son, we thought, the river." Explanations tumbled out amid sobs. The misunderstanding, the pain, the growth. Word spread like wildfire. Patrons gawked, some applauding the miracle, others whispering doubts. "Is this some hoax?" one grumbled. The local news descended, turning the reunion into a spectacle. But cracks emerged. Raffian confessed his reasons for leaving, their rejection, the suffocating expectations. Martha defended, "We were wrong, but we've changed." Robert nodded, but tension brewed. Why hadn't he contacted them? The deception stung. "You let us mourn you," Robert said later in the quiet kitchen. Raffian countered, "You mourned the son you wanted, not who I was." As the initial shock wore off, the Hayes family navigated a minefield of emotions. Raffian stayed in Evergreen temporarily, crashing on his old bedroom's couch, now a guest space filled with mementos of his life. The restaurant buzzed with newfound energy. Curious customers flocked, boosting business but amplifying scrutiny. Social media exploded. Hashtags like Raffian's Miracle and Fake Death trended, with opinions divided. Supporters hailed it as a story of forgiveness. Critics labeled Raffian selfish for the pain he'd caused. "How could he fake his death over being gay?" One viral post read. "Parents evolve. Give them credit." Jamie arrived a week later, driving up from San Francisco to support his partner. The introduction was awkward. Raffian's parents, still processing, met the man who had become their son's anchor. Martha extended a hand, her smile genuine but strained. "Thank you for taking care of him," she said. Robert grunted approval, offering a beer. Jamie, with his easy charm, shared stories of their life together, humanizing the relationship they'd once dismissed. Over dinner at the restaurant, closed early for privacy, the group tentative bonded. Jamie spoke of his own estrangement, drawing parallels. "Family isn't just blood," he said. "It's who shows up." Raffian squeezed his hand under the table, grateful for the buffer. Yet conflicts arose. The town's conservative faction, led by Pastor Ellis from Martha's church, organized protests outside Raffian's Haven. Signs read, "Deception isn't divine," and "Honor thy parents, not lies." Martha, torn between her faith community and her son, attended a service where the sermon subtly condemned wayward choices. She confronted the pastor afterward. "My son is alive, and that's God's grace. Who are we to judge?" The exchange went viral, splitting the congregation. Robert, less vocal, faced backlash at his auto shop. Customers defecting, muttering about family values. He stood firm. My boy's back. That's what matters. Raffian grappled with guilt. Late nights, he'd wander the mountains, retracing the path where his accident was staged. Jamie joined him on one hike, the trail crunching underfoot. You did what you had to survive, Jamie reassured. But now own it. Raffian nodded, but doubts lingered. Had his disappearance been justified? Or was it a cowardly escape? The emotional toll showed. Sleepless nights, arguments with his parents over past hurts. You pushed me away, Raffian accused during a heated family therapy session, recommended by a local counselor. Martha admitted, we were scared, ignorant, but losing you changed us. Robert added, I should have said I love you no matter what. The restaurant became a battleground for broader issues. A local LGBTQ+ group proposed events at Raffian's Haven, turning it into a hub for advocacy. Raffian and Jamie volunteered, sharing their story at a panel. Attendees included questioning teens, mirroring Raffian's younger self. One boy approached afterward. Your parents came around. Gives me hope. But not all reactions were positive. An anonymous letter arrived. Fakers like you ruin real grief. It stung, prompting Raffian to question his return. Jamie, ever the optimist, designed a new logo for the restaurant, incorporating subtle pride elements to symbolize renewal. As winter blanketed Evergreen in snow, tensions escalated. A town hall meeting debated community standards, with Pastor Ellis arguing the restaurant promoted alternative lifestyles. Supporters countered with tales of inclusion's benefits. Raffian spoke up. I left because I felt unwanted. Now, I'm back to show love wins. The crowd split, applause and boos. Robert, surprising everyone, stood. My son ain't alternative. He's family. The moment shifted momentum, but not without cost. Vandalism hit. A broken window, graffiti reading liars. The family rallied, cleaning up together, bonds strengthening amid adversity. Jamie's presence added layers. His cultural background clashed subtly with the Hayes' Midwestern roots. Discussions on holidays, food preferences, but enriched the dynamic. He taught Martha to make tamales, blending traditions. Raffian watched, heart swelling, as his worlds merged. Yet, Jamie confided worries. This town's not us. What if we lose what we built? Raffian reassured. We're stronger together. Their relationship, tested by the spotlight, deepened. Stolen moments, walks in the snow, quiet coffees, reaffirmed their commitment. Media attention peaked with a national interview. The Hayes family sat before cameras. Raffian between his parents, Jamie at his side. Questions probed. Why fake your death? Raffian explained. It wasn't planned. I just ran. Martha added. We failed him first. The segment aired, sparking debates online. Was Raffian a victim or villain? Forums buzzed with polls. Forgive the deception? Yes edged out no, but barely. Personal reckonings continued. Raffian visited his old high school friends, some welcoming, others distant. One, his former best bud Mike, confronted. We mourned you, man. Partied in your honor. Raffian apologized. I was lost. Reconciliation was uneven, mirroring societal divides. Spring thawed Evergreen's icy grip, mirroring the Hayes family's gradual healing. Raffian's Haven flourished. Menu expanded with Jamie's influences. Fusion dishes like chili-infused tacos drawing diverse crowds. But underlying conflicts persisted. Martha's church involvement waned. She found solace in a more inclusive online community, but the loss of old friends hurt. Faith shouldn't divide, she told Robert one evening, as they prepped for dinner rush. He nodded. We're building our own congregation here. Raffian dove into restaurant operations, channeling his culinary passion. Mornings found him experimenting with recipes, Jamie tasting and critiquing. Their partnership extended beyond romance. Jamie's designs revamped the interior, adding vibrant murals of Colorado landscapes with hidden pride symbols. Patrons noticed. "This place feels alive," one said. Yet, success bred envy. A rival diner owner, aligned with conservatives, spread rumors that Miracle is a scam for publicity. Sales dipped briefly, testing resilience. Family therapy sessions intensified. The counselor probed choices. "Raffion, what if you'd communicated instead of leaving?" He reflected. "I was young, scared. But yeah, maybe." Parents owned missteps. Robert admitted suppressing his own brother's similar story, buried in family secrets. "I repeated history," he confessed, tears rare but real. Martha shared her journey, from denial to advocacy. Breakthroughs came slowly, laced with arguments. One night, Raffion stormed out after Robert questioned Jamie's influence. Jamie followed. "He's trying." Raffion sighed. "I know. It's just layers of hurt." Societal pressures mounted. A state bill on LGBTQ plus rights heated debates. Raffion's Haven hosted forums, drawing activists. Raffion and Jamie spoke, sharing vulnerabilities. "Love isn't a choice, but acceptance is," Raffion said. Protests outside escalated. One turning rowdy, police intervening. A brick through the window again, this time with a note. "Go back to Cali." Fear crept in. Jamie suggested leaving. "We don't owe them this fight." Raffion wavered. But running again? Personal growth intertwined with romance. Raffion proposed a weekend getaway to the mountains, reclaiming the site of his death. Jamie agreed, packing tents and supplies. Under starlit skies, they talked futures. Marriage, kids? Adoption, Jamie mused. "Give a child what we lacked." Raffion smiled. "With you, anything." The trip solidified their bond, but upon return, reality hit. Martha had a health scare, a minor heart flutter from stress. Hospital visits unified them. Raffion held her hand. "I'm here now." The town's divide deepened. Pastor Ellis launched a petition to revoke the restaurant's license, citing moral concerns. Supporters countered with their own drive. Media frenzy returned. Talk shows debating faked deaths and family forgiveness. Raffion appeared solo on one, fielding tough questions. "Do you regret it?" "Every day," he admitted. "But it led here." Viewers empathized, donations poured in. Jamie's family reached out unexpectedly. A tentative email from his sister, sparked by the news. "Proud of you," it read. Jamie cried. Raffion comforting. "See? Change happens." It inspired Raffion to mentor local youth, starting a group at the restaurant. Stories poured out. Bullying, rejection. One teen, Sam, echoed Raffion's past. "My parents don't get it." Raffion advised. "Talk, but protect yourself." As summer approached, a festival loomed, Evergreen's annual fair. Raffion's Haven sponsored a booth, offering samples and info on equality. Tensions peaked when protesters showed. Shouts exchanged, but a turning point. A conservative couple, regulars despite views, defended, "This family's been through enough." Dialogue sparked, not resolution, but seeds. Emotional climaxes built. Raffion confronted his deception's ripple. A cousin's depression from the loss. Apologies mended some ties. Jamie's patience waned during a fight. "I'm supporting you, but what about us?" Raffion realized balance needed. They recommitted, planning a San Francisco visit. Summer's heat amplified Evergreen's simmering conflicts, turning Raffion's Haven into a flashpoint for national discourse. The restaurant's booth at the fair became ground zero. Supporters flocked, sharing stories, while detractors picketed nearby. Raffion and Jamie manned it together, handing out flyers on LGBTQ plus resources amid jeers. One confrontation escalated. A man yelling slurs until Robert stepped in. "Not in my town." The scuffle made headlines, portraying the Hays as defenders of progress. Public opinion shifted slightly. Even Pastor Ellis softened, inviting Martha for coffee. "Perhaps we've both evolved." Back home, family dynamics stabilized. Dinners became rituals. Laughter over mishaps, like Raffion burning a batch of pies. Jamie integrated seamlessly, his humor lightening moods. Yet undercurrents of doubt persisted. Raffion dreamed of his death night. Cold river, forged note, waking in sweats. Therapy helped unpack. It was survival, not malice. Parents forgave incrementally. Martha gifted Raffion a quilt embroidered with family milestones, including his coming out. Part of our story now. Broader impacts rippled. The state bill passed, bolstering protections. Raffion credited grassroots efforts like theirs. Media offers poured in book deals, podcasts. They declined most, focusing on authenticity. Jamie's career boomed. Commissions for pride-themed graphics surged. He confided ambitions. Start our own place someday. Raffion grinned. With chili empanadas? Personal trials tested bonds. Jamie's father called. Strained reconciliation. Missed you, the old man grumbled. Jamie visited Texas, Raffion accompanying. The trip was tense. Awkward hugs, probing questions. This your friend? Jamie corrected. Partner. Silence, then acceptance's glimmer. As long as you're happy. Returning, Jamie reflected. Not perfect, but a start. In Evergreen, vandalism ceased, but anonymous threats online persisted. Raffion hired security for events. A pride parade, first in town, drew crowds. The haze marched, rainbow flags waving. Cheers outweighed boos. A teen from the group joined, parents watching proudly. Sam came out to his family, citing Raffion as inspiration. Emotional depths plumbed during a family retreat, cabin in the woods. Stories shared around a fire. Robert's brother, outed and shunned decades ago. I failed him too, Robert admitted. Raffion hugged him. Breaking the cycle. Martha prayed aloud for unity. Jamie added cultural tales, enriching the narrative. As fall neared, decisions loomed. Raffion pondered staying or returning to San Francisco. This place changed me, he told Jamie. But our life there. Jamie nodded. Wherever, together. Parents sensed the pull. Martha encouraged. You've given us a second chance. Live yours. Climax built at a restaurant anniversary gala. 3 years since opening, coinciding with Raffion's return. Guests included allies, skeptics. Speeches flowed. Martha on redemption, Robert on pride. Raffion took the mic. I ran from pain, caused more. But love brought me back. Applause thundered. Jamie proposed privately afterward. Ring simple. Marry me? Raffion accepted. Tears joyful. Yet not all resolved. A final confrontation with Pastor Ellis. Civil debate at church. Scripture versus humanity, Raffion argued. Ellis conceded points. Perhaps interpretation evolves. No full agreement but respect. With the gala's echoes fading, the Hayes family embraced a new normal. Raffion's Haven thrived as a symbol of resilience. Menu now featuring reunion chili, a nod to second chances. Raffion and Jamie split time between coasts, planning a wedding blending traditions. Colorado mountains, San Francisco flair. Invites went out, including to Jamie's family. Tentative RSVPs arrived. Societal echoes continued. The story inspired a documentary, focusing on forgiveness's complexities. Interviews delved. Was the deception justified? Raffion answered, in survival's moment, yes. But hindsight, communication might have sufficed. Viewers debated, forums alive with nuance. Personal fulfillments blossomed. Raffion mentored more youth. Sam flourished, parents attending sessions. Robert retired from mechanics, full-time at the restaurant. Martha authored a blog on faith and acceptance, gaining followers. As winter returned, Raffion reflected on the journey. From rejection to embrace, deception to truth. Jamie's support anchored him. Their love, once hidden, now celebrated. The family gathered for holidays, blended feasts, laughter mending scars. Yet questions lingered. Had choices been right? Society's divides persisted, but their microcosm offered hope. Was it morally justifiable for Raphael to allow his parents to believe he was dead, given the circumstances of his rejection?